Joining us now is Newsmax Chief Washington Correspondent Ron Kessler. He is the New York Times best-selling author of 19 books about the Secret Service, the FBI, and the CIA. Ron's newest book is The Secrets of the FBI, a terrific read. And Ron, thank you so much for joining us here on Newsmax TV, and congratulations also on the success of your new book.
Thank you so much, Kathleen.
Well, there is a new book entitled The Obamas by New York Times reporter Jodi Kantor. It's created quite a stir. What do you think that this new book reveals about our president?
This book is based on 33 interviews with either current or former Obama aides or cabinet officers, as well as others. And obviously they gave her tremendous access. And it's incredibly revealing about Obama. It's really a groundbreaking book. It says that both Obamas, Michelle and Barack Obama, were hesitant about even coming to the White House. They thought that that was not the way to achieve social change through the political process, very much like the Occupy Wall Street people. The rest of us, would think of it as a great honor. No, they thought this was possibly not a good idea. And in general, his attitude is that the way to achieve social change, whatever that means, is to be outside of the White House, and that in fact he looks forward to leaving the White House so he can achieve real social change. It's just an unbelievable revelation. And the book also says that he is an elitist, that he has an arrogant attitude towards any number of different categories of people and groups, including journalists, even though most journalists fawn over him. Really reading this is like putting together a puzzle where you had a lot of different pieces, and now all of a sudden you got the answer. You were able to solve the puzzle. You can see the full Barack Obama illustrated in the puzzle, and it's an eye-opener.
These revelations, what do they tell us, and how do they explain President Obama's policies and rhetoric?
Well, we know he's a liberal ideologue, and we know his policies have been liberal. And we know other certain things about him, such as that he spent 20 years listening to Reverend Wright with his anti-white, anti-America hate speech, considered him his sounding board. We know that he made a comment about bitter Americans who love their guns and love their Bible, very demeaning comment. We know other sort of candid comments that he's made, but for most of us it was hard to believe that, is this really what he thinks? Did he really believe in what Reverend Wright was talking about? And now all of a sudden with this book it comes together, and you realize, yes, he does think like that. He did think that social change cannot be achieved through the political process. He does look down his nose on huge categories of people, that he is, in fact, very personally arrogant. He told people in his Senate office that he's the best political director and he's the best at this and that. What a way to motivate people by telling them that he's better than they are. Again, you really connect the dots with this book.
Ron, how is it that a New York Times reporter wrote a book critical of President Obama?
That was an amazing question to me. And the answer is that this liberal reporter, who did a very honest and fair job and did get all this access and reported honestly what she found out, actually agrees with Obama's philosophies, doesn't take issue with the idea that social change cannot be achieved through the political process, that you should reflexively support the underdog, which is another Obama attitude. So she doesn't see this reporting as being critical at all. In fact, she sees it as being favorable. And I thought it was interesting that when David Brooks, the New York Times columnist, who supposedly is a conservative, interviewed her for C-SPAN, he also said that he thinks that the book shows Obama in a favorable light.
So the reaction to the book, what does that tell us about liberal journalists?
I think what it tells you is that liberal journalists just absolutely have no clue about the fact that they are liberal, that there are conservatives out there who are not nasty, mean people who do have a legitimate point of view. But they're so cloistered and so much in a bubble that they don't realize that what they're reporting on Obama is actually going to be taken very unfavorably by most Americans. 40% of Americans say that they are conservatives versus roughly 20% who say that they're liberals. And these people really just don't get it. You know, I was at a recent press reception that the CIA had, and I was talking with some of the journalists from some of the major publications, wire services, and in a few cases I happen to say, you know, I like the way it's been going. I think you're much more fair. For example, the Washington Post is more fair. And they really didn't understand what I was talking about. They didn't see that before there was this agenda which was very liberal and suppressed the other side. They just did not get it. So that's the age that we live in.
Ron, last question for you is on a separate but related issue. The president is scheduled to deliver to Congress his annual State of the Union address. What do you think that the speech is going to focus on?
You know, I'm so uninterested in what Obama's going to say, because if you look at his previous State of the Union messages, he's never delivered on anything that he said. He will say that he's for this or that, and then, you know, in some cases just let Congress do it. In other cases, just forget about it. It's talking points. It doesn't mean anything. It's not going to get to the fundamental issue, which he doesn't seem to understand, which is that he represents an anti-business point of view, that he's constantly demonizing business, that his regulations constantly limit the opportunities for business, create more risk aversion, as in the case of Obamacare. These things he just doesn't get or doesn't care about, and I don't think anything is going to change. And in fact, you know, he claims this is not a campaign speech, but he's going to go to 5 battleground states after the speech. Why is that? It's all part of the campaign.
Ron Kessler, thanks so much for joining us.
A pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.